Good evening and welcome to Good News on Entertainment. I'm Carly Boyette. Tonight we begin with a conversation with a New York Times bestselling author, a sought-after speaker, and a successful podcaster. Annie F. Downs hosts the That Sounds Fun podcast, which has more than 100 million downloads, and the wildly popular and meaningful Let's Read the Gospels podcast. But along with hosting those podcasts, she also has authored a few best-selling books. And now she has added one more. However, this one is for kids and families with a very special meaning and purpose. Where Did TJ Go was written with her sister Tatum. After Annie's sister suffered the loss of a baby, Annie wanted to write a story that would help her nephew understand what happened to his brother from a biblical view. Before my visit with Annie, listen to more of her family's story.
Where's the TJ book? Do you see it? Can you bring it to me?
Who are these people on the back?
Dada, Mama, and me.
Wait, there's one more person. Excuse me.
Mommy.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Hi, I'm author, speaker, podcaster Annie F. Downs.
And I'm Annie's sister, Tatum Green.
And together we have written a kid's book called Where Did TJ Go? Because it was a book we needed at a time a couple of years ago in our family.
My youngest son, TJ, was born with some significant health issues, and we knew we wouldn't have him for long, but we didn't know how long. He lived for 56 days before he passed away. And in that time, we really wanted a resource to be able to walk our 2-year-old son through losing his little brother.
But we just couldn't find one that really told us a gospel story in the middle of a sad story. And so, because I write books, I wrote one. And Tatum and I have worked together to make this book available to you and your family in a time of need that we wish you didn't have either. We wish we never needed it.
We hope that this book will be a good tool for your family to have meaningful conversations with your kids.
The hope of heaven is real, and we want all families that could possibly need that reminder to find that in Where Did TJ Go?
Annie, what a joy it is to get some time with you. I told you before we got started that I've been a fan of yours for quite some time and followed your journey and just watched you take your platform over the years and just gotten bigger and seeing what God's done through you and the art of interviewing, which I love.
Yeah.
And now to move into this kids book space. And I was really kind of shocked to learn that something of this, as a mom myself, how has this not been, looked at, through a children's book and through a godly view? I mean,
Yeah.
I know that's part of the story is you and your sister were just so shocked that there wasn't anything like this.
Yes, we were so surprised when my sister and her husband were pregnant and TJ, the baby, was diagnosed with trisomy 18, which is a life-limiting diagnosis. The first thing her counselor told us to do was find a book to read to Sam, who's my other nephew that was 2 years old. And so I got on the horn and I called counselors and pastors and moms who had been through the unique situation of raising children when another child dies. And so not only are you dealing with your own grief, you're raising children that are grieving. And there was not a gospel-centric book anyone told us about. And there were a couple of smatterings of this book or that book. And there was one book that a lot of people told us about, but it was always with the caveat of like, but it isn't about the gospel. And so
really it's not it at all.
Yeah. And so what I really did with Where Did TJ Go is I wrote it for Sam. Like I wrote it for my nephew thinking, and actually this is the third story I've written and gifted to a family that we thought would never be published. Like the other two have never been published. They're just stories that I wrote for families for fun. And we thought this was just going to be a gift for our family and just a gift to Sam to help Sam process the loss of his little brother. And about 6 months after TJ passed away and we had been reading it to Sam, my sister and I were both like, maybe we should see if this would help other people. And so my agent and my publisher both were like, yeah, this is a felt need that isn't being met yet. And so that's why it exists as a book now instead of just a story that I printed off my computer for my nephew.
And it's just so amazing because that's why we do what me and you do. I feel like, hearing other people's stories. I mean, that's how we learn. I feel like that's what we're called to do, our testimonies and kind of displaying that. is what we're called to do, is share,
Yeah, that's right.
our
And
experience.
so my hope, one of our hopes with even people learning the story of the book, is they would not feel like, well, in order for this pain I went through to matter, we have to do a large public thing. Or in order for this suffering our family went through, I have to tell my story on the Today Show. It's not that. It's, can you take the pain you've experienced and sit across the table from someone who may need to hear that story? Are you willing to share your story in any way that may help your church, your community, your school, your own family, I mean, we were talking about TJ in a living room with our cousins long before we were talking about him on interviews. And so it's, we hope it also invites people to use their own pain and let God use their own pain to turn beauty from the ashes and share that with other people.
How is your sister doing? And again, I haven't personally gone through this, so I can't even imagine, but I do know, as a mom of 3,
yeah,
I can only attempt to know the hurt and the pain. And imagine it's not something that goes away either, right? Like, it's something that you're constantly, thinking of every day. How did you and your sister kind of grapple with, because it's probably one of life's toughest questions, is how could a God that's this loving and good allow this pain and suffering?
The stats in the US are that 1 in 4 women have a miscarriage. So if that's baseline of our sisters and their loss, that's just miscarriage. That's not including stillbirth and possible medical decisions, death after birth, which is what we experienced. TJ was born and ended up living 56 days. And so in a world where that goes up pretty significantly, maybe half of our friends have experienced this kind of loss in their own family. And so it is unique, but not rare, right? It is unique in every family, but it's not rare. TJ died in August of 2022. So we're at 2.5 years. He's a very important part of our family. We talk about him a lot. And one of the things we model in the book that we talk about a lot as a family is we hold the joy of that death has no sting because heaven is real, and TJ didn't disappear. He exists. He is, and he is somewhere, and he is better off than we are by far. And we wish he was here. Both of those remain true every day. And so if anything has happened for me, I won't fully speak for my sister Tatum, but I will speak for myself, is heaven has become significantly more real to me in the loss of TJ. And the loss of TJ. I was just going to
ask if it's ignited. I'd imagine with siblings and when you go, you want to know a lot more about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just reminds you that, like, this is the short part. Now, this part really matters because we want to drive. Well, I don't want to drive a motorcycle into heaven. I want to drive a bus. Like, I want to take as many people as want to go with me. So it's not that this part isn't important. It's just a reminder that this suffering is intense but short. I was talking with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about the things we won't do in heaven that we do on earth. And one of the things we won't do in heaven is worship through pain, because there won't be pain. And so one of the things we get to do in this short part is suffer and still believe that God is who he says he is. And so there's something about that that's going to build something in us that we need forever. We just don't necessarily know what it is yet, but it's building perseverance in us now.
Yeah. Have you gotten much reaction from the book now that the book is out and a couple of families? I mean, what has that been like?
It's been beautiful. I mean, we sold significantly more books than we expected to be put in hands in the first week. We set a month goal and we hit it in 6 days. And so what that said to us is a heartbreaking and beautiful thing, is that more families than we realized needed this. And more people than we realized wanted to pass this off to other people that may need it. So we have been absolutely blown away by the amount of nonprofits and organizations that have bought piles of books to send. One of the great gifts to our family in the loss of TJ and in TJ's hospice care. He was 3 weeks in the NICU and 5 weeks at my brother-in-law and sister's house. And so in that, we got a lot of care packages from organizations that this is what they do. is step into infant loss. And so now those organizations are turning around and adding, where did TJ go, to what they send to families. We did not expect that necessarily. And I'll tell you, the other thing is and this is, if this serves anybody that is watching or listening, but one of the things we noticed last October, when it was Infant Loss Awareness Month, I just did a little story that said, have you lost an infant in your family? We have two. Tell us their name. And I got hundreds of people just saying, thank you for asking. His name was, thank you for asking. Her name was. And so we decided when the book came out that we were going to sign book plates that say in loving memory of, and let that, it says in loving memory of, and then let that child's name be there. The parents sign up for it. And it's on wheredidtjgo.com. It's totally free. You just buy the book wherever you want to buy the book, and then I'll sign the book plate. I've done over 600 so far. Over 600 families. And I'll tell you the story real quick. I think you'll be moved by it like I was. But this one little family, the daughters they lost are named Leah and Grace. And she posted this publicly on Instagram. So I feel fine telling, and I won't tell you her name or her last name, but the first video she posted on her Instagram was the older brother reading the nameplate and saying, those are my sisters. And it says, in loving memory of Leah and Grace. And then the next slide she put up, which I could have never imagined, Carly, because this isn't my story, right? Like it's my nephew. It's not my son. Said, I've never seen someone outside of our family write their names. And it means so much, because you and I have seen teachers write our nephews and your children's names. And we've seen other family members write their names. And we've seen people at church check them into the church, to the kids section with their names. She said, no one else has ever written my daughter's names. Thank you for writing their names. And so we're still doing that. That's not like a pre-order thing. We're doing that until I'm 100. I don't care. But it's things like that now I'll tell you what I don't believe. When people say, if this just helps one person, I'm like, no, we weren't willing to lose TJ over helping one other family. And that's not how seeds work. You don't plant one seed and get one apple. You plant one seed and you get a tree. And so, and it has repeated apples for years and years. And so what we are already seeing is that, I'm getting emotional saying it, that TJ's little life, the seed of his little life is not an apple, it's a tree. And there are all these families, while we would every day pick to have TJ with us, because God in his kindness, somehow the best story God knew to tell was to let TJ's life be a seed that is planted underground in his death. And somehow that tree is growing and the fruit is multiplying across other families. To God be the glory.
Yeah. I say that I probably say in every episode, every interview I do, it's so true, but God doesn't need us. We don't need,
Sure.
It's just such
That's
a
right.
blessing,
That
to
we
jump
get
on
to
board.
partner. Yes.
Yeah, that we get to partner and be a
That's
part
right.
of it. So,
That's right.
What a blessing that,
That's right.
I'm glad that you guys are feeling that,
Yeah,
and
it's
being
been
a part
really
of what
sweet.
God can already do.
Yes.
Well, what's next for you as we close here? Because one of the things I love about you is I never know what you are up to. I never know where you're going to move, what you're working
Right.
on. You're all full of surprises.
I am full of surprises.
You're open to wherever God is calling you.
I'll tell you what I'm open to. I am open to wherever God's calling me. I'm open to whatever way allows God to squeeze the most out of my life. And so whatever it looks like for him to amplify and squeeze, I'm into. In April, you'll know the next thing I'm doing. We just aren't talking about it till April. So in April, check out Annie F. Downs everywhere, and you'll see where I'm going to be and what I'm doing. So we have a fun announcement coming in April. The fun part about jobs like yours and mine is that this happens at Disney World too, is that the behind the scenes, they draw and they build and they create, and then suddenly you see the parade. And you didn't know what was going to be in the parade until it came out. And that's what we get to do in our jobs too. And so we've got a lot of fun things going on at the That Sounds Fun podcast. We're going through winter, spring, summer, and fall this year.
Seasons, which I talk about all the time too. That is how I see life. Yeah.
Yes, I'll tell you the hilarious thing is people have been like, I don't like winter. It's too long. I want you to go back to the old way of podcasting. I'm like, welcome to winter. This is how winter feels. Spring is going to be very fun. We've got great stuff coming in spring, and so it's just been it's going to be a really fun year of getting to do some new things. You know, we also have a group for singles called Single Purpose League for anybody that isn't married today, whether you're never married, divorced, or widowed. And we love serving that community and bringing them unique content. And mostly what's happening is they're making new best friends. And it has been the sweetest thing in the world. So Single Purpose League is out there. And Where Did TJ Go is flying through the world. And, I don't have everything that I want, but I have more than I deserve.
No, well, you keep letting God just fill you up and the Holy Spirit fill you up and spreading
thanks,
that joy
friends.
and light. You're one of those that is just doing it so beautifully. So
You're so
congratulations again on everything that God has been doing in your life and in your career.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to talk again soon. And maybe
hope
when some of
so.
those other announcements come out, and I'd love to stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for telling everybody about TJ.
Oh, I just love Annie. For more info on her podcast or the book, just go to her website, anniefdowns.com. Okay, now I want to tell you about the exciting return of the popular series When Hope Calls. Season 2 is set to air on Great American Pure Flix on Thursday, April 3rd, and then on Great American Family on Sunday, April 6th. As you may know, When Hope Calls is based on a popular book series as well, and Season 2 of the series now has a new cast member, Sarah Fisher. You may recognize her from Someone Like You that hit theaters last year. Well, pretty in pink, Sarah, I love it. So nice to get some time with you.
I can't wait. Thanks for having me.
I spent a lot of time promoting Someone Like You. I got a chance to talk with Karen, and man, congratulations on just what an impact that film had, and still going strong, right? That's what I love about streaming and how these movies can live on. And I am so excited to hear about you joining kind of another big project where people are going to see more of you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really sweet. Yeah, I'm very excited. Someone Like You was such an incredible project to work on. I was filming in Nashville for 7 weeks, which was so beautiful. Nashville's amazing. And yeah, I find with these two roles, what's been so exciting is I as an actor, I love a challenge. And with Someone Like You, I was able to bring Andy Quinn and Andy Allen and London Quinn to life, which was really was such an honor and such a pleasure. So it was so exciting as an actor to be able to take on two separate roles was something I was really excited about and really drew me to the project. And I'm really excited to be a part of When Hope Calls. I'm part of what was so exciting and so interesting to me is that this takes place in the early 1900s, 1920, and it's so exciting to dive into what did life look like, and there's horses, there's just so much involved in the world that's been really exciting.
And the sad thing is you say 100 years ago, it's really not that long ago. That's what's so fascinating to me. Like, the older I get, I'm like, oh man, no, So explain because it's season 2, so you weren't a part of season 1. So kind of how did you find out about how this was kind of unraveling? And then when you got this opportunity, kind of take me back to that moment when you got the call.
Yeah. So so when Hope Calls has a first season, and it's been a few years since that season aired, and I got an audition, I believe, last year for When Hope Calls season 2, and again was so excited to see that it was a project that was back in time. I was really excited to figure out what that looked like, what that means. How does that change how Hannah Lawrence walks into a room differently? If she's got all these incredible outfits, to be honest, this blazer was very like a Hannah Lawrence choice. I was like, I think this really feels like something she would make, which is so cool. And what did it look like back then for her to be in a position where she's got this boutique, this dress clothing design company that she's created. And so that was something I was really excited about when the audition came in. And then I've heard I got the part, and filming was so beautiful. It's such an incredible set to be on. You know, when you kind of get plopped in the world of Brookfield, it's just so magical. It's so there's horses and horse and buggy and carriages, and it's you really do. And I'm dressed in these incredible outfits with all these, like, wish I could say it was my hair. It is not. With all these beautiful mermaid hair extensions, and there's so many different elements to being a part of a show that takes place back in time. So it's been a really exciting journey, and now we've wrapped. We finished filming end of November, and it's been a handful of months, and we're really excited to share this show with everybody.
Yeah. Talk about stepping into this, very, very family friendly and kind of faith based element of entertainment. It's such an exciting time to be in where I think it's, content's been put out in years past, but it's really just a lot more respected. And I think the demand is there more than ever. Talk about just stepping into that space, as an actress and kind of making your claim there.
I feel like the beautiful thing about When Hope Calls is there are so many different elements to the show that people can connect with. Whatever that may be. It's a really wonderful show that just has so many different. There's a lot of love. There's so many beautiful relationships that happen, and there's a lot of like self discovery. For Hannah, she's going through a really interesting time in her life, which can be so relatable. I know it's relatable to me, where you find yourself in this moment where you're kind of rediscovering who you are. And that's a whole other element that's so interesting that I love as an actor to dive deep into. Is she's at this point where she's been brought back to this place that meant so much to her. And she's trying to figure out what she wants and what she's got two different lives. She lives this really kind of spectacular life in St. Louis, where she's got this beautiful company and she's really working her way up in this world. But then on the other side, she's in her uncle's ranch where she grew up as a little girl riding on horses, right? So it's really fun to dive into that as an actor, because I know I have related so much to being at those places in life where you're just trying to figure out, who am I? What do I want? What do I care about? What matters at the end of the day to me? And so I think there are so many different themes and elements to this show that people can connect with, which
Well, and I just appreciate that I can watch it with my 12-year-old daughter, right? And you can spark those conversations. There's still, they can be heavy subjects, but that doesn't mean we
sure,
should shy away from them either.
absolutely. Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about film and television. That
Yeah.
is probably one of my favorite things about being an actor, is being a part of telling stories, and however people relate to them. It's just going, we're all in this together. This beautiful, wild life that we're living. We don't know answers. We try, and that's all that matters. Show up with love and kindness to everyone at all times. And and that's part of what I love about being an actor, is being a part of telling stories where whatever the story may be. And the exciting thing is that's forever changing and evolving. And having people relate in so many different ways, going, oh, I felt that way, and just feeling less alone in that, which is really very special.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I am so excited for season 2. I know a lot of fans who have loved this story now for such a long time. I know they're excited about it as well. What's next for you? Can you tease anything that you might be working on, or what you would like to work on?
Well, one thing I always say when I answer this question is, I go, the fun thing about being an actor is we never know where we're going to be next. So I always say, I can't wait, and I'm so excited for what that next experience may be. I'm working on a lot of projects that I'm also just writing and interested in producing and acting in as well. So those are
Awesome.
some cool things that I'm really excited about. Thank you. I've produced a movie, Kiss and Cry, that I was in, that came out in, I believe it was 2016, and that was really special and close to my heart. So I get really excited by thinking about things that matter to me, and finding a way to share that, and yeah, so we'll see, but very excited, and very excited to share the show as well. We're really excited.
Again, When Hope Calls Season 2 will start streaming on Great American PureFlix Thursday, April 3rd, and then airing on Great American Family as part of their new Faith and Family Sundays starting April 6th. Well, before we wrap up tonight, I want to make sure you were tuning in next week. It's going to be a big one as I sit down with the cast of The Chosen once again as the world gets ready to watch season 5. The 5th season of the series will be broken up into 3 parts as it hits theaters again this year. Part 1 will begin March 28th. And as we close, let's go ahead and take a look at season 5 of The Chosen.
You must know something. I do believe that Jesus is most likely the Messiah.
Why?
Why what?
Why do you believe that?
I've seen too much.
Then why are you doing this?
I suppose I have not seen enough.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
You can run on for a long time.
My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of thieves!
By what authority are you doing these things?
My own!
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
We have a problem. Jesus operates entirely outside our jurisdiction.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! Stop this at once!
The world is changing, and Jesus offers a vision to redeem it.
He's not the Messiah!
Tell him that God's gonna cut you down.
Declaring yourself a sovereign, Rome will descend on us all!
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
The Pharisees are plotting to arrest Jesus of Nazareth.
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
I want peace, just like you. If you go through with this, our alliance is over.
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
There is talk of a collaborator from within of his own followers.
Go and tell that midnight rider.
City's on edge. If you succeed, I'll be the one left to pick up the pieces.
Go tell that long-tongued liar.
I ask that you keep your distance from me in Jerusalem these next few days.
Why?
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
You serpents! How will you escape being condemned to hell?
What have you done?
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
All right, as I mentioned, I hope you join me next week as I sit down with some of the cast and give you a preview of what else you can expect from season 5. Again, I'm Carly Boyette, and I look forward to seeing you next week right here on your Christian Television Network.